All right, here we go, guys.
All right, have fun.
All right, let's start rolling on our hips. Feel this movement. So even let's say I'm holding a seated pose and you're like, I got to come out of it. You could do something like this because that's going to add in movement that you don't have to really think about. And I hope that you're not thinking about, am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? But you can't do this one right or wrong. And in general, the messages that you get from your body, your mind, and your breath is if your breath halts, that means something's up, unless you're intentionally holding your breath. And let's come to center. Equal weight on both sitting bones and feet. And sitting up tall. And let's lift our arms about shoulder height and then open them out to the side and flow them down. So immediately we start to bring in some flowing movement, which the body might say, yes, this is what I like. Notice what the body likes and what the body doesn't like. We tend to like the similar kind of things. And then those things we don't like might be good for us, as our mother might have told us, and reverse it. And that's where the knowing comes in and the balancing act comes in so that you decide what's right for you. So just a flowing kind of movement is a nice way to get the body going. And then let the arms come down and let's sway towards the right and towards the left. And back and forth. Notice how the weight shifts in your sitting bones and in your feet. You'll feel a little bit heavier towards the right. The left side may be lifting and then it reverses. And let's come back to center. Pretend you have a carrot on the end of your nose or a pen. Or a wand, a magic wand on the end of your nose, and let's circle it around. Think about what kind of magic you would like to send out there. What are you painting? You see these streams of light and color coming out from your magic wand. Wow, where was my brain this morning? Let's go the other way. Or what was going on in the dream world? And come back to center. And let's tip the head towards the right. Now, if we hold this for a breath or two, this is when we start to feel the stretch more. And then come up to center another way. If we don't hold it, we don't feel the stretch so much. Come back to center. Now let it sway a little bit one way and then the other way and notice the stretch. I'm still feeling it, but it's different. It's a little less elongated. And so we have dynamic stretching and static stretching, and they're going to get at different ways of lengthening in places and muscle groups and fascia in the body. Come back to center. Let's inhale, flow the arms up, out to the side. Reach your fingertips forward like you have that magic wand energy coming out through your fingertips. Reach, reach, reach right and left. And now pull inward and feel your shoulder blades come on your back. Reach out again, like you're going to reach for somebody's hand on the right and somebody's on the left. And then keeping the arms long, pull in. Take your arms forward. So this is a little bit more adding static into it. Now reach your arms towards your friend in front of you. The shoulder blades come off the back and then pull the arm bones back. And some people call this flossing. Reach forward and pull back and reach forward and pull back. If you pull too far back, then it feels like a tightening and maybe a constriction up here. So try to loosen that up and don't go so far back. And then forward, back. If you have a yoga block or a ball of some type, place your fingers and your palms on the edges of the block. And then reach forward like you're going to bump blocks with your friend in front of you. And then keeping the arms long, pull it back. So I'm going to give you a side view so you can see that. Here's me bumping the block into my imaginary friend in front of me, and then keeping the arms long, pull it back. That's the static flossing, forward and back. And we can make this slow or fast. For me, I have trouble feeling the connection. If I go too fast, it just isn't there. Try it. You can even bring your elbows in and then push out. Notice what you feel when you go fast versus slow. And so that's going to change up. But if you're feeling like, oh, this pose is too static, you can add in little movements there. You do it yourself and you'll know if it's right or it's wrong. Something's, listen to your body. Let's take the block forward and then out towards the right. So we got a little twist going. We tighten the belly in and up, come back to center, flow it towards the left. Belly pulls in and up, back to center. Push your palms into the block and then release that pressure. Push it in, release, push it in. That's building our strength. Feel the muscles on your arms activating and release. Let's let that block go. And bend our elbows. Take a side bend towards your right. Come back to center and towards the left. Breathe in and breathe out and center. And now let's start to lengthen the arms towards the right. Your length is going to be different than my length. This is not a competition. It's just lengthening until you feel that's my range of motion. That's where I stop. Come back to center and lengthen. And back to center and lengthen. And here we are. Bring your palms forward, interlace your fingers, press away. Good. Now start to flow with the elbows. So notice how we've just pretty much touched on warming up the upper body, and we are about to get to the lower. Come back to center. Take your hands to your knees or your thighs. Round your spine. Chin is towards chest. Belly's pulling in towards spine. Inhale, lift up. Shoulder blades up and back. Sitting bones back. Heart lifted. Exhale, we round. Sitting bones down. Belly pulls in. The arms get kind of long here. That gives us a good stretch, like we're going over a beach ball. And then inhale, we lift up. So this can be a flowing movement, like so, one way, and then the other, concave, convex, flowing to cat, and to cow, or we can hold it a little bit. So rounding the spine, pulling the belly in, feeling the lengthening. Notice how it feels different to hold it. And then inhale, lift up, sitting bones move back, heart rises, back of the neck is long. I like to push my palms into the thighs. That helps lift and lengthen, and you'll feel a stretch in the front of the body. Then come back to center. So that was a little bit more holding. Let's walk the feet, one heel up and then the other, alternating one and then the other, lifting a heel, lowering, lifting and lowering. And this is more of a flow. Then let's lift both heels, lift up through the crown, maybe take our hands to the top of the head or just one hand, push your crown up into your palm. You'll feel the belly tone, ribs are pulling back, heels are lifted. Exhale, lower the heels down. Inhale, lift the heels. Exhale, lower them. So here we are, flowing up and down, or let's hold it Let's hold it. Feel the muscles that are working. Push down through the mounds of the toes. Exhale, release. Release the arm. Let it go. Turn your head towards the right. And the gaze is over to the right. Inhale to center. Turn the head to the left. Gazing to the left. Let's play with right knee lifts. We're tall. Circle the ankle around. You don't have to look at the ankle. This is the flowing movement. Now we could turn the toes out and the knee out. That's more of the static. And we could turn it in a little bit. So out, back to center, out, back to center. So this is more of that flowing movement. Let's circle the knee around and about. Get into that hip joint. And then here's our static. Let's hold it. Maybe take the left arm out to the side. We're in a version of spinal balance. Maybe keep the knee lifted and take both arms out. Push down through the standing foot. Release, let it go. So we can vary this up within our flows. Lifting the left knee, hug it on in. We are tall, circle the ankle around and about. One way and then the other. Breathe in and breathe out. Let's turn the knee and the toes out. So it's we're trying to match up knee and middle toes. That's the alignment. Then bring the toes and the forward and the heel back. Turn it out and in and out and in. And circle your knee around. Notice if you tend to go inward and then outward or outward, then inward, just as a way to notice and then reverse it. Reverse it. That's part of our brain training. Give it a little surprise that it's not used to. Lift the knee. We're tall. Right arms out to the side. Feel your shoulder blade on the back. Breathe in. Breathe out. Maybe let go. Here's the static. Should you let go now? Now or now? Up to you. Up to you. Let's extend the right leg out to the side. Push out through the heel. Now pull the heel in and press the heel away. Pull it in, press it out. Pull it in, press it out. This is movement with breath. Inhaling and exhaling. We can extend as we lift tall. Maybe hold this leg out. Let's point the toes away and then pull them towards us. And point away and then towards us. So the leg is pretty much in the same position, but we're adding a little bit of movement in with the pointing and the flexing. Breathing in, breathing out. Let's take our arms out to the side. Shimmy towards the right and then towards the left. Flow it. So leg is more static. Upper body is flowing. Back to straight up. We're in the static pose. Let's tilt down towards our right leg, left hand to your hip. Shoulder blades on the back. Maybe lift the arm up. Breathe in. Breathe out. How about we clap our hands towards each other and then open it up. Lift tall. Bring them in. Open them up. And bring them in. And open them up. So here we are, moving within our practice. Now, if we hold this, I want you to notice how the muscles are working here. Push down through the foundational leg, which is your front one, and then the heel. And then pull the heels towards each other. This is more static. This is more engaging muscles. Let's lift up, drag the heel back in, and bring the knee forward. Circle around on your hips. Notice if anything, we can always circle around on the hips or bring in some kind of flowing motion after we do static to make sure that we didn't get into holding muscles or bringing in tension into the body. Movement's going to help get rid of that. or at least start to get rid of that, right? All right, let's take the left leg out to the side, make your adjustments on the chair. This is the foot that's pressing down. This is the heel that's pressing down. Let's drag the heel towards us and then away from us. Feel the resistance as you push the heel down and towards you. And feel the resistance as you push the heel down and away from you. Notice which muscles are working. Hamstrings are really working as you pull that heel in. And then stretch it out. The hamstring is straightening, lengthening, and the top of the leg is activating. Pull it in, reach it out. Pull it in, reach it out, point the toes, flex them, and point them, and flex them. Inhale, exhale, not super important when the inhale or the exhale are when we're doing this kind of motion. I usually cue you if it's really important. Let's take the arms out to the side and flow. Notice, is your body happier when we're flowing? That's good to know that. Breathe in and breathe out. Let's take the right hand to the hip and the left arm down, going into a little bit more of a static, shoulder blades on the back. But if you know the static is causing you pain, bring in a little bit of movement, maybe point and flex, maybe move the arms, maybe come up and down a bit. That would be okay. Let's feel the shoulder blades on the back. Maybe you gaze up, maybe you don't. Let's clap the hands, open them up. So this could be the exhale, pulling the hands together. This is the inhale, opening it up. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Pull the hands together, open them up. Pull it in, open it up. Let's lift, bring the heel in and back to center. Circle it around just in case something creeped in there. We don't want it. No creeping in. Let's take our feet into goddess pose or horsey pose, however you like to think of it. Now, push your feet down, pull the heels isometrically. You can't see me doing that. That's more static, even though there's some movement. Push down to your feet now and pull them away from each other. You could barely see that. My foot slipped a little bit, but otherwise you wouldn't see that. Push down, pull heels in. Push down, press away. Let's pull heels in, bring the palms together. Press down and away, press the arms apart. Push down, pull in, push down, pull apart. Push down, pull in, push down, pull apart. Push down, feel your buttocks, your pelvic floor engage as your hands come together. Push down, press apart. Give yourself a hug. Wrap yourself around. You made it to yoga this morning. It's a gorgeous day. You could be outside doing something else, but you are here. Give yourself a hug. Open it. In the summer, there's all kinds of enticing activities, right? Give yourself a hug. Give yourself a hug. Fingertips behind you. Maybe you feel little pressure points there, a little massage. Feel any, you might feel some gringies or anything going on around the shoulder blades. That's pretty typical. Open it up. Hands to the thighs. Breathe in. Breathe out. Let's bring the legs back together. You can do it like I just did or not. We could open it up and we could close it. And we could lean back a little bit and the belly engages. We could lean forward, open it up, bring it on in, lean, come back forward, open it up, lean back, take your arms forward maybe, or hands are on the chair, lean slightly back, belly engages, come back forward. Let's flow the arms upward. Arms out to the side. Exhale, flow them down. Take a little breath break here. Breathe in, breathe out. Feel any twinges or anything going on in the lower spine. Release the head. Let it sway to the right and then to the left and back to the right and back to the left. Now let's push down through our feet, arms out to the side, lift up, hands at the heart. Good, let's add to the flow. Exhale, arms down. Inhale, they lift up. Exhale, find a twist. Left hand outside, right thigh. Right hand can be at the back of the chair, the seat, or the diag. What I've noticed is sometimes if people are doing something like this, the shoulder creeps up. So it might be better to lower the hand down or bring it at a diag so the shoulder doesn't creep up. Inhale back to center. See, that's what I mean about me yakking and getting a little bit distracted, keeping you in the pose a little longer. Now let's find the twist to the other way. Breathe in, breathe out, making sure this upper shoulder doesn't lift. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms out to the side. Feel your shoulder blades on your back. Take your arms forward. Notice, is this creating too much stress on your back? If it is, keep your arms out to the side. Bring them forward. Notice it. Is it too much on your back? Bring it out to the side. Exhale, flow it down. You guys you have this internal barometer that tells you if a movement is right or wrong. Pull your elbows up, lengthen your shoulders forward, feel your shoulder blades on your back. Exhale, lower the fingertips down. Inhale, lift them up. Feel your shoulder blades on your back. Lengthen your heart forward, slightly up. Exhale, fingertips down. Inhale, pull the elbows up. Lift up, forearms are parallel with the earth. Reach your fingertips forward. Pull them back like you're pulling a net back. Reach forward. Pull back. Forward. Pull it back. Let's come back to neutral and find our way to warrior. Right knee's out, left knee's either forward or out to the side. This warrior tends to be a more static pose, but we can add things in and certainly come out of your legs, feel like they're just stuck. Shoulders are up and back. Flow the arms. Here's the flow. We flow it, arm forward and then arm back. This brings in movement into the body. Blood is flowing. One more time. Now here we could hold it, pull the belly in and up, but if it's too much, keep it flowing. If it's too much, keep it flowing. How do you know? Your breath stops. Your mind is telling you, I don't like this. Your body's telling you, I'm in pain. Mind telling you, be careful of that one because the mind's going to want to go out faster than necessarily your body feels it's necessary. Come on out. Let's reverse it. Let's reach up and reverse it so we get a good lengthening through the side of the body. Lift up. Bring your feet back together. Take your time. Take your time to bring your feet back together. Let's be right here. Breathe in, breathe out, exhale, lower arms down. You can always add these flows in to help your body in between poses. Lower the head and the jaw, push down, arms out to the side, rise up, hands together. Warrior two, other side. Find your variation. Notice, am I going too fast today? Too slow today? What is best for you? Because a lot is dependent on how you're feeling on a particular day. So here we are in our warrior pose. Yes, it tends to be static. We kind of check things out. Feel the feet pushing down. Press down through that right hip into the chair. Flow it to the side and then back up. And we're breathing, of course, breathing in and breathing out. You can feel like you're gliding through warm water or maybe honey. What's appealing to you? And then we're going to hold it to the side and lengthen and maybe gaze up to the elbow, maybe not. We can push our arm down into our thigh and get some space here so we're not hanging out like that. So that's another part of the movement, more of the static movement is pushing body part into body part. Lift up. Find that reverse warrior. Breathe in. Breathe out. This is a place where the breath can really open, but sometimes it's like, wow, my body's not used to this. Inhale, come on up. Because you're giving it more space to breathe. Bring your feet back together and circle one more time. So you can always add in these little movements as we find our way to static and flowing and releasing, because yoga is about creating space in your body, releasing tension, becoming more aware of where's your body in space, what is my body telling me, and let's move to center and we'll work down towards the earth. So you're going to want a blanket, blocks. Let's keep the chair because I want to play a little bit with hip movement and flowing with the hips so you can feel the difference. And so make yourself safe, go down slow, no rush. No rush, take your time. So placing the chair so you feel safe. I like it against the wall. No, it's not going to go anywhere. Cushion the knees. If the knees get tender, you certainly want to cushion them. Setup is a big part of this. So it's not rushing in. That's part of our flow, right? Setup is part of this. And then hands to the chair. And then you can slowly lower down one knee and then the other. Keep the chair. Place it on your mat so we can work on our hips a bit. Now you might keep the blanket if you know that the knees are tender. I'm going to move it out of the way because I think it's going to block your view a little bit, but you can certainly have it for your back knee. We're going to start with our hands on the chair, and then you can use your other hand. We'll use one of your hands to lift the foot forward. So take one of your feet forward, right or left, doesn't matter. I happen to be facing towards the left, so my left. Anyway, so this back knee might be on a blanket to protect it. And we're gonna you can either have your hands on the chair or relax your forearms on the chair, and let's sway the hip around and about. And this is a flowing movement. Yeah, it's a flowing movement. You may feel a nice stretch in the inner thigh. The foot can be turned out, by the way. In fact, if it's forward like that, you don't want it to bump into the chair. So probably best if it is turned out. And here we are, circling it around. Now, let's bring in more of a static pose. Coming up onto our fingertips, we're in more of a lunge. Now, with your fingertips on the chair, you can hold on to the side of the chair for balance. Pull your ribs back. Notice how that might start to bring in a stretch to this back thigh just by pulling the ribs back, lifting tall. And then we can rock forward and back a little bit. Or you can come onto your forearms, and here we are in more of a lunge. You could move your knee back. I like to curl the toes under, but it's going to feel different. So don't feel like one is better than the other. When we curl the toes under, there's a little bit more muscular action. With the foot down, we can still have muscular action, but we have to really think about pushing the top of the foot down. So what I'm feeling now is a stretch through the front of the back thigh where the knee is down on the earth. We can lift up and maybe bring one or both arms up and feel that. This is a lunge, or keep both hands on the chair. Keep both hands on the chair. Breathe in, breathe out, and then let's bring that knee back down. And I will turn. You don't need to, as long as you have space to move. And we'll do the other side. So with this, we're really opening up the hip, but then we brought in a little bit of a static pose. We didn't hold it terribly long, but maybe you thought it was terribly long, right? You might use your hand or step that left foot forward. We're going to circle around. So whatever comfortable for you, forearms on chair or hands on chair, circle it around. This is the easy does it. Feel as you flow. The hip gets super tight for the lives that we live. These are our basic movement patterns. Then we're going to come back to center. Now, moving that knee back a little bit is going to add a little bit more of a stretch into the back thigh. Now lift onto the fingertips, and you can always make adjustments. Never feel like you have to, oh, I got there, now I got to stay there. If you notice you want a little bit more of a stretch or it's too much, make your adjustment. So here we are. Let's move forward and back just a teeny bit so you can see what it feels like to move forward and back. Now, by the way, if it's too much pressure on your knee and it feels accessible to you, you could lift the knee up. I didn't say that on the other side, but you certainly could. And that's a whole different lunge. Then let's come up onto our fingertips, ribs are back. Maybe lift one arm. Woo. Lifting the arm brought in more of a stretch to that back thigh. I don't know if you noticed that or not. Maybe we lift both, or maybe you switch hands. Which arm is up, which hand is down? And that's a little bit of a play. Let's come on out of that and bring the knee on back. Now walk your knees back. Your arms are forward on the chair, and you get a little stretch here. Breathe in and breathe out. And let's walk back in towards the chair, and we're going to try that lunge with the knee lifting. Doesn't mean it's necessarily going to lift. You decide. You decide, it's your body. So right knee's going to come back up. Hands are on the side of the chair or forearm. We're going to walk that knee back. Maybe you got that blanket placed. Curl the toes under. Lift on up, straightening the back knee. Forearms can be down. We are pulling our belly in and up, trying to line up the knee over the center of the heel and ankle. Feel this lunge, getting some good strength through the back leg. If holding it is too much, you might rock it a little bit or bend the back knee and then straighten it. So this is how we add in little small movements, so we're not just static. Lowering knee, lifting it, lowering it and lifting it. Let's bring the knee on down and the other knee on down, and sway your hips right and left. Sway them right and left. That gets into the hips too. Ooh, it does. Just a little bit of swaying does. Yes. A lot of what we're doing today could be done standing. I see that some of you are, and that's good that you know how to adapt that. Let's do the other side. So foot comes forward, back knee moves back a little bit. Then we're going to play with lifting and then bending and straightening. Ooh, get a little bit of a calf stretch going. Breathe in, breathe out. Knee down, knee up. You can even sway your hips here a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left. Come back to center, lower it on down. Let's come off of our knees. You probably said enough of that. So put your chair to the side so you won't knock into it. I'm going to get it out of your view so you don't have to look at it too much. Excuse the noise. Okay, here we are. Let's get off our knees for a bit, like I said, like I promised, right? And we'll just do some boat pose because you love it so much, right? You might put a block in between your thighs for this boat pose. Your hands can be behind your hips, or hands behind thighs. And we're going to rock forward and back. We are moving back and lifting up. And moving back and lifting up. Lean back. Maybe one arm's up, maybe the other arm's up. Lift and lower and breathe in and breathe out. lift. Maybe you take one arm and you release it. And then maybe you take the other arm and you release it. Or maybe you keep them both where they're at because you're getting enough. We don't want any lower back pain though. No lower back pain. Not allowed. Let's lift back up and take a little break. Remove the block. Give yourself a hug. Give yourself a big hug. I'm going to turn forward so you can see this next movement. You're going to take your feet wide, and then you're going to let the knees go to the right and then to the left. Here's flowing again to the right and to the left. And breathe in and breathe out. Now, if you want to play with, it's a little bit more of a balance thing. You could have both hands up when you do this, swaying one way and then the other. Is it necessary? Absolutely not. But we can add in a little bit of a balance nature here as we sway one way and then the other. You're going to be like, oh boy, she's added way too much flow into this class today. Let's come to center and sit in butterfly. You know that it's important to sit on something because you've heard me say that over and over again, unless you're brand new. So we sit on a blanket and that lifts our spine so that we're not rounding over. And you might sit on more than one blanket because that can be very helpful. We're tall. Our hands might be at our shins. Yes, this is a little bit more of a static pose, but we can add in some things to move it around. We could creepy crawl our fingers forward until we feel a stretch, and then creepy crawl them back and lift back up. And then we could go forward a little bit and back. And yes, we're going to get more of a stretch if we move forward and maybe hold it for a breath or two. If pain creeps in, I suggest bringing more movement back in. Breathe in and breathe out. And breath is in and breath is out. So we are holding it. And then we notice, oh, we could move our fingertips a little bit more forward for a little bit more of a stretch. Maybe, maybe not. Breathe in and breathe out. And breath is in, breath is out. And walk your fingertips back. And here we are. Let's play with taking our leg, just one leg out to the side. So bring your right foot out to the side. This is named after one of my teachers, Todd, who calls this Todd by the beach. So you've got one knee down, one knee up. This usually, you might feel a stretch right here in that inner thigh. Then you can push your arm into your inner leg and your leg into your arm. And then you come into this mudra with the fingertips, thumb and pointer finger touching, gazing over. You are a Todd by the beach and you're getting a little bit of a stretch. Now, at first I didn't notice it, but see, staying in it a little bit longer, start to feel it a little bit more. Breath is in and breath is out. Now, some of you might stay here and some of you might bring this foot a little bit more forward or bring it in front of the left shin or bring the foot over. I sound like a seal. Is that a seal? So here or here, or here's movement. Here, move it a few times. Then let's find our twist. So hands are in front of the shin. We lift tall, keep the left hand on the shin or you can bring your elbow outside the thigh. That's for those of you who are super twisty. And then the right hand is going back behind you. Head travels last with the neck muscles. You know, that's my new thing. Yes, holding a twist for a little bit is so good for moving those internal organs. swishing them, squeezing them like a sponge, and then letting them open as we come back to center. Let's open it up. Take both feet out to the side, push your heels down and lift tall. So now our knees are up. We're gonna drag the right heel forward, pull it in, drag the left heel forward and pull it in. Breathe in and breathe out. And breath is in and breath is out. And then we will go to the other side. So tied by the beach. Now we got the right knee forward and the left foot out to the side. And now this left arm is going to push into the left inner leg. Maybe we find this mudra because we think we're so cool like Todd. And then we might gaze over the shoulder, breathing in, breathing out. Notice if you put pressure into the arm and the leg towards each other, it changes things up. Release that. I don't feel as much of an inner lift. It's helping me get some leverage to lift up. Notice what you feel. Breath is in and breath is out. Breathing in and breathing out. Notice, like, I'm not feeling a ton on this side, and you might notice that too. Then we're going to step the foot inside or outside, or maybe you just kind of tiptoe a little bit to see how that feels to do that. If your hip says yes, if your hip says no, stay here. Can be a little bit wider too. Hands in front of the shin, we lift tall again. Now we're going to twist towards the left. So your hand can be in front of the shin, or what we do to get the elbow outside is to really lift up long, and then you can even push this knee a little into center and bring that elbow in outside. Only for people who feel it's accessible. Otherwise, no need. Not quite there. The body's not there. And you know whether a twist is contraindicated. At least I hope you do for your spine. You should certainly ask your doctor. Breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in and breathe out. So even the breath adds in a little bit of flow and circulation to these poses when we're holding them more still. Breathe in, breathe out. Notice how there's a little bit of movement when you do that. None of these poses are like stuck still like ice, right? Come back to center and bring your feet out once again. And then we're going to play with lengthening one leg, pointing the toes away, drag the heel back in. Lengthening the other leg, press the toes away, pull the toes in, drag it back in. Then maybe drag both heels forward. Now, if it's too wide, that may feel like too much. So you might bring your feet in, pull it in, press it away, pull it in, and press it away. Let's bend the right knee, keeping the left leg out. And again, so here's, if you're super tight, this leg's going to come forward. Maybe you take it here, here, or here. One's not necessarily better than the other. Then I like to lean forward and get the sitting bones back. Into there, and then lift tall. If you feel the stretch here, you don't need to lean forward. However, maybe you add in a little bit of movement by rocking it as you breathe in and you breathe out. We're rocking it, breathing in and breathing out. In and out, out, and in. Lift tall, switch sides, bringing the left knee in and the right leg out to the side. Now this side could be different. Leg is forward or leg is out to the side. Somewhere in between. Point and flex and point and flex, and let's rock it. Sitting bones are moving back. This is where I start to feel a lot in the inner thigh. Notice that that's where you feel it. You might notice it without doing that, but we do want to feel something around this inner thigh. And let's hold it, but I want you to feel the breathing in and the breathing out and how that adds in. It's a more subtle movement as you breathe in and you breathe out. And you breathe in and you breathe out. Inhaling and exhaling. And here we are, we're a little bit more static. And then let's come on up, bring the feet together, give yourself a hug. We're gonna do a few yoga push-ups to build our strength in our arms and in our hands, our upper body, our shoulders. So knees are under hips, hands are forward, just slightly forward of your shoulders. So you should be able to see your hands. Then let's round the spine, find the cat pose, pull the belly in. And then reverse it. Sitting bones up, heart's lifting, belly stretching. Reverse it to cat pose, tailbones moving down. And reverse. We're into that hammock pose for the summer. Now, pull the belly in, lift the ribs. Let's do a few push-ups. You might walk your knees back. That gets into more of a plank pose. And then we bend our elbows into our sides and then push away. And bending and pressing away. And fingertips pressing down and lifting up. And pushing down and lifting up. And this is strengthening, but also a little bit more movement. Could we hold it? Yup, but not, you could always add in more movement or make them faster. I'm holding it down a little bit, maybe go a little bit further down, and I'm going to push down, rise up. So this is adding movement in. Down, lift up, down, lift up, down, lift up, down, lift up. Let's go towards a child pose. Knees apart, heels are, your buttocks is going towards your heels or maybe not quite. Let's rock it forward and back. So this is more of a moving child pose. We could hold it. Hips towards heels, maybe or maybe not touching, arms forward or elbows bent. And if this is, you would like to bring movement in, right even here, you can sway your hips to the right and to the left, and that's going to massage your lower spine. Hips moving right and hips moving left. As you breathe in and as you breathe out. Come back to center. Let's lift up and go onto our sitting bones and we'll lower down onto our back. You might want to bring a blanket with you for underneath your head. Just to review, when the head goes down, we don't want to see this, where the forehead is tilting back like that and the chin is up. We would like more level forehead, level chin, and curve in the back of the neck. If you don't have that, then you might want to put a little blanket under the, just even right under the top part of the head, the top third of the head can help that tilting back. And we are now in a bridge pose. We're going to move into a more of a dynamic bridge pose where we move up and down, and then we might hold it for a little bit. You could have a block in between your thighs or not here. So we're going to lift up and lower down. And you don't have to lift to your full range of motion. Lift up, push down through your feet. We rise up, exhale, we lower down. Push down through your feet, inhale, rise up. Maybe walk your shoulders underneath you and rock right and left a little bit. And then now that we're up, we can lower the hips down, lift them up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breath is in, breath is out, breathe in and breathe out, toning your hips, toning your hips. Breathe in, breathe out. Now, we could sway the hips to the right and to the left and to the right and to the left. Let's lower down, take a little break. Feel how your body is in this moment. And we're going to lift up. Here we are more static. We could hold this, but if it's too much, then add in a little bit of movement that we just looked at. Let's hold this for about 3 breaths. Feel the toning in your hips. Breathe in for a count of 3 or 4. Breathe out for a count of 3 or 4 or 5. For some of you, maybe 6. And then once you've done that for about 3 or 4 times, let's lower on down. Bring the right knee in towards you, circle it around and about, and place the foot down. Bring the left knee in towards you, circle it around and about, and then place the foot down. And we can walk in place. And that adds in some movement. And that's also really good for feeling the bottom of the feet. You can slap it down, but be gentle, especially if you've got anything going on in your feet or your ankles or your knees. You can be gentle. You might lift it, slowly lower the heel down, then the foot. Lift it up, lower the heel down, and then the foot. Let's play with lifting up, walking the shoulders underneath us. Arms can be down or into robot, and lift one heel, lower it, then the other. Breathe in and breathing out, alternating, lifting one heel and then the other. So almost any pose we do can be static or dynamic. And I want to show you one of my favorite restorative poses. You've seen it before, but I'll show it again. You can take a block or a pillow or a blanket underneath your bridge pose. This is more of a restorative pose. Why? Our heart is above our head. The heart doesn't have to work as hard. Of course, if you're doing any of these type of, even this is a mild inversion, but you want to check with your doctor if you've got any questions about it. And so you could be right here, and this is automatically going to trigger the parasympathetic nervous system, and you can bring in a slower breath pretty easily without even trying too hard. We breathe in and we breathe out. Notice how you can easily balance out the inhale and the exhale, and maybe even feel the exhale a little bit longer. Now, some of you who love this might take one leg up or both legs up. It's not for everybody, but it's really, really nice. This is that pose where you take your legs up above your heart, and it's wonderful for reversing lymph. You can play here by pointing and flexing or circling or moving legs around and about, but it's a nice place to kind of float if that feels okay for you. You don't want any pressure on your head or your neck. We want that curve in the neck. Or just resting here is a lovely place to be. When you're ready, you'll take that on down, and we'll find our way to our resting pose, unless your body is calling for something else. Now, I recognize that Shavasana is more of a still pose. And if it's really tough for you, do it for a very short period of time, just to give your body a time to recalibrate and to absorb what you've done. You want to be in a position that's really comfortable, not in a position that's causing any type of torture in any kind of way. It should be restful and relaxing. A lot of people like the bolster underneath their knees for their back. So highly suggested if you like that, or feet up on a chair, or maybe you're seated in 2 chairs. but this is such a nice place to be. Now, if lying down is tough on you, on your back, because some people it is, I have students who lie on their belly or their side. It's not like it's prohibited. This is the more traditional way to have the body up. And if this is painful for you, then of course you're not going to do it. If not, I highly encourage it for even just 30 seconds, 60 seconds. I'm always encouraging people to take a nice long shavasana. Another type of yoga or type of movement is called somatic, and that's where we're really paying attention to slow movement. So maybe you do some little slow movements, but it's relaxing, like turning your fingers, your palms down and then up, or just little small movements if the staying still is really tough on you. Yoga is meant to help release tension. You don't want to invite it in. So find your way to what's best for you in this final resting pose. You might take a few inhales and exhales where you're conscious of the exhale being a little longer than the inhale, which will help to trigger that relaxation response. So your inhale might be for a count of 4, and your exhale for a count of 5 or 6. Inhaling for a count of 4, and exhaling for 5, 6, or 7, or even 8. And notice how it feels for the body to relax. This is a time where you can feel the impact of your practice, the circulation in your body. Be the observer rather than the doer. This is the pose we usually want to shortchange, and yet it's viewed as the most important pose. Feel the body breathing without you trying to control it. And feel the stillness in your body. As you breathe in. And as you breathe out. And I'll say to you, when you're ready, you'll come up, but stay as long as you want. If you're comfortable, I highly encourage that you stay in this resting pose. 3 minutes, 5 minutes, up to even 20. If not, you can rise with me and seated. And feel how it is to sit tall once you get there. We'll bring our palms in front of our heart. A time for gratitude, a time for acknowledging what the body can do, and for the many benefits and varieties of our practice to help suit our needs. Namaste, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. It's so good to be with all